I'm here at First Water Trailhead in the Superstition Wilderness, and I'm about to take my 9-mile hike. Okay, just a quarter-mile in from the start of the hike, I come to my first trail junction. I'm going to be headed down Second Water Trail, and this will form a loop with Black Mesa Trail, and I'll return back on the Dutchman's Trail. This area is the former site of a First Water Ranch, and you can see some remnants of that ranch here. This post here is undoubtedly further little remnant of First Water Ranch. These plants you see here are cholla, also sometimes called as jumping cholla. But these are very interesting plants. This is a chain fruit cholla, and you can see the fruits hanging down, hence the name chain fruit cholla. They're also called jumping cholla because you don't want to get too close to them. They'll hurt you. On the Second Water Trail here. These tiny cactus here are called pincushion cactus, and they get pretty little flowers on them in the late spring time area, and they grow up normally under the shade of other plants. Very fragile, but they are very beautiful also. A week ago we had 5 consecutive days of rain, which is very unusual for here in the desert. So I'm seeing pools of water along the way. I expect that Boulder Creek should be quite filled with water. So we see a lot of tiny streams like this draining the desert. This area is called Garden Mesa, and it's a relatively flat area of trail compared to the rest of the Superstitions. And I'm coming up right here on a sign junction with the Black Mesa Trail, and this means that I've come 1.8 miles in 45 minutes, which is a real good pace. So I'm happy with that. So I'm ending my stay on Second Water Trail here and heading up the Black Mesa Trail. On the top of Black Mesa, I'll get some real nice views. So look up Blacktop Mesa. I'm sorry, I said this is Blacktop Mesa. This is actually Black Mesa. We'll be coming up to Blacktop Mesa later, but this is called Black Mesa. There are 2 different geographical areas. Saguaros sometimes take very unusual shapes, and one of the rarest is to see a crested saguaro, which is what you see here. And this is not a real pretty example of a crested saguaro, but you can see the strange formation on the top here. That is a crested saguaro. I've usually seen much prettier examples of that, but hedgehog cactus, studded with saguaro cactus. we are treated to a great view of Weaver's Needle, which is the most famous landmark in the Superstition Mountains. And Weaver's Needle can be seen for miles and miles around. Geologists say that Weaver's Needle is an ancient volcanic plug. Hiking along Black Mesa Trail here. These are Palo Verdes. These are the state tree of Arizona. In the springtime, they get beautiful yellow flowers on them, and right now they're pretty barren, but they're a real pretty sight around May. Here's some nice Palo Verdes right here. Palo Verde means green stick in Spanish, and you can see their green bark. Here on the far side of Black Mesa, we can see it's covered with black igneous rock, hence the name Black Mesa. Black Top Mesa, we'll see later on the other side of Boulder Basin, also has the same type of black igneous rock. But this is Black Mesa, and we'll be coming up on Black Top Mesa in a little bit. Staghorn Cholla. This rock formation at the front of Black Top Mesa is called Yellow Peak for obvious reasons. Yellow Peak. This plant is called Mormon tea. Boulder Basin here and point out a few things. Over to the left here, we see the Red Hills, and right next to that, this is Blacktop Mesa that I've been promising to you, and you can see the black rock on top of the mesa. There's actually a trail to the top of Blacktop Mesa, which I have ascended. I'm not going to do it today. When I made it to the top, there's some very fine views up there, but I was a little bit younger then, and I'm not going to do that today. To the right of Blacktop Mesa, we see Palomino Mountain, which is very beautiful and rugged, and right behind it you can see Weaver's Needle, of course. At the bottom, down below Palomino Mountain, we see some campers in Boulder Basin. This is where I'm headed. I think there may be water down there after all the heavy rains we've had. So you can see campers there. Crossing West Boulder Creek here. It's running quite well with the recent rains. Here we see a view of Dead Woman's Cave. In 1910, a female body was discovered in a cave here, and it was discovered with 3 gold nuggets. The cause of her death and her identity remain a mystery. This is a mesquite tree. This is a sugar sumac tree. A lot of these trees provide nice shelter for campsites around the Superstitions. Back over West Boulder Creek, flowing very nicely here. This spindly looking plant is a ocotillo. In the spring later on it'll get green leaves and some beautiful red flowers, but right now it's very dormant. This plant is called jojoba, and this comes in both male and female plants. The female plants produce a grape-sized green hard fruit, which is used in making shampoo. If you've ever used shampoo with jojoba in it, this is where it comes from, and this plant is raised commercially for that purpose. This, of course, is a prickly pear cactus, and it produces a plum-sized fruit that turns red in summer. In fact, you can see one is apparently left over from last year, right there. That fruit is just full of seeds, chock full of seeds, so it's difficult to eat, but it is very delicious, and it's used for making jam and jelly and that type of thing. I've heard that this rock formation is referred to as Little Four Peaks, but any Arizona native knows it just doesn't compare to the real Four Peaks. This is the real Four Peaks. This plant is a scrub oak. Birds sometimes nest in jumping choyas, believe it or not. There you can see a little nest in the jumping choya. Here's another chain fruit choya, again with another nest in the branches there. This is a barrel cactus, and it's also sometimes called a compass cactus because it always points towards the south. And it's also sometimes called a fishhook cactus because the needles look like fishhooks. This is First Water Creek, and First Water Creek flows all the way down to Canyon Lake. It comes into the Canyon Lake by the first bridge. As you're approaching Canyon Lake, if you cross over that first bridge, that's First Water Creek flowing into Canyon Lake. I'm hiking along Dutchman's Trail here. I've descended from Parker Pass, and it's mostly downhill from here to the trailhead. Probably just less than 3 miles, maybe just 2 miles to go. I'm periodically crossing First Water Creek and headed back to the trailhead along Dutchman's Trail here. And here I am coming up on the junction of the Dutchman's Trail and the Second Water Trail, where I started about 4.5 hours ago. So here we are.